With thousands of heavy vehicles on the road in Australia every day, there's a lot of driving to be done and a lot of risk to be managed. We at Bluescope want you to know your role in ensuring that every company-related transport activity will be safe for all employees, contractors, drivers and road users. We need to operate in accordance with updated chain of responsibility laws. These laws, which are also known as the Heavy Vehicle National Law, place legal obligations on everyone in the supply chain because the actions of one party in the chain can influence the behaviour and actions of everyone else in the chain, including truck drivers, and can impact the safety of everyone on Australian roads. At every level of Bluescope, from the leaders of our business to those with roles in manufacturing, sales, planning, procurement, engineering and scheduling, there are people with a role to play in this chain of responsibility. And the good news is, working together with our suppliers, contractors and right down to the end of the road to our customers receiving our goods, we can all work to make sure things don't go wrong. The Heavy Vehicle National Law applies to all vehicles over 4.5 tonnes gross vehicle mass. The primary obligation under the law is that every person who is in the chain of responsibility for transport activity involving a heavy vehicle must take all reasonably practicable steps to ensure the safety of that transport activity. The key risk areas which must be managed to meet this obligation relate to mass and dimension, loading and load restraint, speed and fatigue, and vehicle safety standards. For example, a breach of the Heavy Vehicle National Law may include overloading vehicles in weight or overall dimension, placing unrealistic demands on a driver and causing them to speed or drive whilst fatigued, which includes compliance with their work and rest time, not restraining a load correctly, or allowing an unroadworthy vehicle to transport our freight. Now, in order to comply with this legislation, let's take a look at our roles and responsibilities. The leaders of our business have an obligation to exercise due diligence to ensure that the business is meeting its chain of responsibility obligations. This involves understanding what we do to minimise the risks that can arise in our transport activities and that we take steps to manage those risks and prevent incidents from occurring. All members of the sales or planning departments are an integral part of the supply chain too, and in some businesses directly engage transport contractors. Servicing our customers is one of our highest priorities. However, this must not come at the expense of safety. You must not make demands or adhere to customer demands, which may cause vehicles to be overloaded, unsecured, or cause drivers to exceed their hours, skip their minimum rest periods, or exceed speed limits. If you're procuring materials and equipment, you have an obligation to work with the suppliers to ensure they're dispatching safe loads. This includes being on a roadworthy vehicle, maintaining legal load limits and correct load restraint. Furthermore, you must not make unrealistic demands, which may cause drivers to breach speed and fatigue requirements. Our manufacturing and operations teams are receivers of raw materials and packing supplies. If you work in this team, you have an obligation to ensure that any issues identified with deliveries, such as failed load restraint and overloaded vehicles, are communicated to the driver and/or your leader to ensure the issue can be addressed. Additionally, the manufacturing team pack and load goods for dispatch and must ensure that products are stacked in a stable way and within the appropriate weight limits. If you're loading a vehicle for dispatch, you're in charge of making sure the goods are loaded in a manner which doesn't cause drivers to inappropriately secure loads or transport goods that exceed maximum dimension or weight limits. You must document the loads and check that documentation is accurate before providing it to the driver. Also, you must not delay drivers because this could cause them to exceed their driving hours, skip their minimum rest periods, or exceed speed limits. If delays occur, talk to your leader to ensure the driver and load are kept safe. Members of the dispatch teams or schedulers have an important role in ensuring that finished goods are loaded and dispatched in a safe manner. This includes creating delivery schedules, which allow drivers to stay within legal speed limits, keep within their safe driving hours, and allow for rest periods to ensure they're not impacted by fatigue. If you delay drivers, you have the potential to cause them to go over their permitted hours, skip minimum rest periods or break speed limits. If delays occur, talk to your leader to arrange an alternative delivery means. Maximum chain of responsibility penalties have increased to $3 million for corporations and $300,000 plus up to 5 years in jail for individuals per offence. An incident or accident does not need to occur for Bluescope to be investigated, prosecuted and fined. If you're involved in or witness an incident which could potentially cause a chain of responsibility breach, please ensure you report it to your leader and enter the details into MARS. The Heavy Vehicle National Law applies to all vehicles over 4.5 tonnes gross vehicle mass. Everyone in the chain of responsibility has legal obligations to ensure the safety of their transport activities. This includes ensuring that their actions, inactions or demands do not influence a driver's behaviour with respect to speed and fatigue management. Heavy vehicle incidents are serious events and can have serious consequences. Please remember to report all chain of responsibility incidents. We'll keep you up to date with further information about recent changes to obligations relating to the chain of responsibility. More comprehensive information will also be provided to Bluescope employees with key roles in meeting Bluescope's obligations under the Heavy Vehicle National Law.
If more load isn't restrained properly, it puts the general public at risk.
We're all responsible.
We are all accountable.
We're all responsible.
We're all accountable.
We're all responsible.
We're all accountable.
We're all responsible.
We're all accountable.
We're all responsible.
We are all accountable.
Within the chain of responsibility, we're all accountable.